what I wanted to say is that, for example, Gabby and I married here. Now, because you, Olga, is single, Ayana probably still single, and Anya, you are just a few months in a relationship. When you are in a space of married women, especially married women with healthy and happy marriage or relationship, guess what? You're gravitating that towards you. You want to be healthy and exercise, you gotta be with people who are healthy, eating and exercising, you know? And if you want to be spiritual, you gotta hang out with people who are spiritual. You want to be successful businesswoman, you gotta hang out with masculine women. And so I just want to acknowledge that this is in a space. And it's just a matter of time when you're gonna be either in a relationship or married, you know, or you, Anya, get married. It's just a matter of time. It's just the way math works, physics works. So just want to acknowledge you, ladies, for being here. Ladies, do you want to share anything? Was there any resistance to come into this program? Was there excitement? How were you feeling to come to this program? So just want to get the general feeling.
I guess I'll share. Definitely was excited for this program, but probably had a little resistance just because he's not feeling so like 100%. So it was kind of feeling like, oh, like I really want to go, but like I don't know about little man. You know, that was kind of, he started getting the runny nose last night. So of course I was like, I'm not sure, but he's in good spirits, luckily, you know, even though he's a little uncomfortable, he's fine.
Yeah, so thank you. Even though Alexander not feeling really fully 100%, you're still here. You're making a marriage a priority, your relationship with David, and that says a lot. So thank you, Gabby. Ayana, what is there for you in the space? Was there any resistance or excitement? How are you feeling to get to this program?
I think I felt a little resistance, probably because I think I have a little bit of a hard time connecting to certain things when I'm not really in them. Like not being in a relationship, I don't know if I feel like I have enough space to really fully take in the way that I want to, because there's like no relationship in the back of my mind, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. Because right now you're single, recently divorced, you feel like, okay, so do I have full space to take in all of the knowledge about relationship if you're not currently in a relationship? I get it. And thank you for being here. Because it's just a matter of, could be weeks, could be months before you could be in a relationship. And then it's better to know this knowledge and into the relationship than not knowing. Mm-hmm. Can you just take that, like you are going in a relationship already knowing fundamentals and what's important?
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Let me just share the way the program will go. Sometimes I'll be talking to you, for those of you who are single. Sometimes I'll be talking about marriage and relationship. Now, when I'm talking about marriage and relationship, start thinking back when you were in a relationship, the mistakes you were doing, and also it's a matter of weeks or months that you will be in a relationship, how you will be doing it correctly. Start applying it to you. Gabby, even if I'm talking to ladies who are single, start applying what was not working. Maybe just a year or two ago, or currently what mistakes you're still doing, because there's always room to grow. Okay, don't separate yourself. Oh, right now she's talking about dating, it doesn't apply to me. It still applies to you. And if I'm talking about marriage, it still applies to you, because it's a matter of weeks or months or a year that you will be married, ladies. So are we ready to start? Fantastic.
Yes.
Now I would like to just ask you, how would like for you to be in this program? Because you could be doing this program logically and intellectually, and then you're just gonna get a few insights. But if I will ask you to be vulnerable and authentic, you can actually have breakthroughs and full transformation on how you're looking at men. So I know that we are throughout a day, weeks in our community, on our social media, trying to look good, and it's inauthentic. This is a safe space that I'm asking you to be vulnerable and authentic, because I will be coaching you one-on-one. So would you agree to put on the side looking good and just being vulnerable for the next 3 hours? Can we agree to that?
Yes.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Now I have a question for you then. First of all, why are you here? You wouldn't be here because you just want to learn about men. Let's just be honest about that. What do you want in a relationship? And please, again, don't tell me that you just want harmony and happiness with a man, because this is very, very unclear. Who wants to be fully honest and work with me right now? And you will be very surprised how unclear and uncertain you are about what you want. So who is willing to be coached right now and work with me? What do you want in a relationship? Gabby, even if you're married, Anya, even if you're in a relationship, you can still work with me and I can coach you step by step. What is actually that you still want or maybe improve? So who has this calling right now to work with me?
I'll share something.
Fantastic. Awesome. Let's go. And if anybody else would want to do it after Gabby, I can go with you as well. And throughout the program today, I really would like to work with each one of you so we can unpeel what's not working. Gabby, you are already married and you have a husband. What do you want now from your marriage?
This might be more on my side, but I still see, for me, a lot of hesitancy in being like fully honest in certain situations. Kind of like holding back, you know, if I don't like something or if something makes me uncomfortable, still trying to like just like that people pleasing kind of tendency. You know, whether it's something recently actually that happened. My parents took care of baby Alexander for a little bit. They took him to the park locally, but they stopped at a Mexican restaurant and they were drinking alcohol. And I found this out after the fact because they told me that they were just going to go to the park, but they stopped. So like even something like that, I know that's not with my marriage, but it was very like hard for me to say something to them. But I still see where I can be that happened very recently. So it's at the top of my mind, but I can still see where I'm the same way in my marriage, where something might make me feel uncomfortable and I don't say anything.
Got it. So right now what you're saying, you would like to be really honest and courageous and communicate what's so to David when something he does that doesn't work for you, instead of just pleasing. Anything else? What else would you like in a marriage?
I guess it's hard to think about now just because of the babies here, but I would like to have more alone time, like going out and having fun and things like that. I feel like we've definitely put that to the side because of the baby. And just, you know, also, I mean, even though he's 10 months old now, I still feel like we're kind of like, we're in a better routine, but it's definitely not smooth, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
So I would like to make more time to have fun together.
Got it. So what else is missing is communication, authentic communication, that you also want to be alone sometimes and you need his support to give you this alone time. And also fun time between you and David, just you and David. That's what you're communicating, what's missing right now, which you're in a perfect program because I'm going to be coaching you later how to communicate that with a husband. That's going to be halfway in the program. But right now also, I would like some of you who is single to also work with me, because we're going to create a full picture of how you want to be in a relationship. So thank you, Gabby, for being really vulnerable and share. But now I would like to work with also who is single or in a relationship, Anya. So who wants to work with me?
I will.
Who is that?
Or Olga.
Who?
Let them maybe choose. I'm as well ready, but Ayana was first.
Ayana. So now I will tell you what I would like for you to tell me. What I would like for you to share is, what kind of relationship do you want? What kind of man do you want? Where would you live with this man? What you will be doing? What you will be doing with him together at home? Will you be working or will you be staying home? How many kids you would like? In which state or country would you like to live? I would like to hear that. So you will be very clear. What is that you want? So Ayana, are you ready?
Yeah.
Let's go. So, what would you like?
Oh, it's so fun to share with another person. So I would like a husband who wants to have a family, and I would like to live more in a rural area, kind of like the countryside, with a small home, because, I don't know, big homes just don't seem cozy to me. But a small, comfortable home for our family with like 3 or 4 kids.
Yes.
And I want him to take care of our finances. Like, I don't want to think about paying bills. Even now, the bills I do pay are like on auto pay, so I don't have to like think about it.
Yes.
So I want him to do that, like, mental heavy labor for me, with regards to like financing. And I see him owning a business. I don't know what kind of business, like it could be like construction or a restaurant or, anything where he's, owning his own business. And really, I would just like to be comfortable and like genuine with someone, and someone who's like comfortable with me, myself, like that I don't have to conform to what their idea of me should be, but rather just being comfortable myself and them accepting that, and me being able to accept him as well.
Very good. Can you share what is his physical status? Is he fat? Is he heavy? Is he healthy? Is he drinking? Is he smoking? What is that? Tell me. It has to be this specific.
He's not drinking, he's not smoking, he's not clubbing. He's fit, but he doesn't have to be like a gym bro, but like a fit masculine, like he does work around the house sometimes kind of fit. And just like a masculine man, not too skinny.
Yeah.
And average height or tall is usually what I like and naturally attracted to, what I naturally see first. But I'm short, so really any height is like fine. It doesn't have to be like 6'4" or something like that. But mainly like a muscular, stocky kind of guy, not skinny. And he is active, like, he'll go to a park, he'll play a pickup football game here and there, but like he's not into sports like that, like it's not consuming his life like basketball every day or something.
Very good. So you want a guy who has his business, some sort. You're staying home with 3-4 kids, living in a small rural country home. He doesn't smoke, he doesn't drink, he plays a little bit of sports, but not really sports, like in the park. So he's in a good shape, has some muscles. But mainly, you're talking about a man who is a provider, who is a protector, who takes care of you and kids. So you can stay home and not even stress about bills. Is that clear? Am I missing anything?
No.
No? Very good. Do you see how it is specific? This is very clear and very specific. Now, Olga, Anya, and Edith, are you start having a picture of what kind of man do you want to be with?
Yes.
Yes? Do you want to share, Olga?
Yeah.
Okay, go.
Same, like, the character and how she's supposed to look like, yeah?
Very short, very quick.
I want Ukrainian. I want protector, provider, and leader.
Yeah.
I want as well to live somewhere on the side country, like, as well with a small house and like garden, maybe forest next to us, maybe some river, but anyway, not in busy city.
Yeah.
Of course, like I want to have my, I cannot say hobby, I still will work, but I will work not for like paying bills and running after all these cars, house, and everything what I'm doing now as a single. I just want like to be happy what I'm doing. Like, of course, my dream is like to have my space with yoga, with healthy vegan cafeteria. Like, I don't know, hopefully it will come true. like but definitely he need to provide me all my expenses, my emotional support and financial support as well. And of course I want to feel with him like I shouldn't be scared to share with him, and like I mean I don't want to hear that I'm I don't know, rude, or I'm annoying, or I'm complaining a lot. I want that he accepted who I am and kinda feel me. I mean, in the same way I will feel him. Like I mean, when he coming tired from work, I will give all my support and like I mean everything, and make it cozy our house and cook and everything. I want this connection. I want it like I mean even in the beginning, because what I'm recently, even when I've been in Ukraine, when I like communicating with guys, like I really see all these traumas which they have and they like I mean projecting on me. And of course I know I have it as well. And I'm just like, whoa, if it's in the beginning like this, what it will be later. That's why I want like really kind of click, but not a click which is like this dangerous click when it's butterfly in the stomach, because I know later it's not gonna be good. And definitely regarding the look, I want like tall guy, taller than me, because I like 172 centimeters, and of course he's supposed to be sporty because I'm sporty, or if in case no, like I mean we will manage. I will do everything for him. Yeah, like have his hobby, of course, no smoking, no drinking, and that he active, that we will go out, like I mean not every day of course, but I mean he ready to climbing, he ready to cycling, like something active, and of course traveling. I cannot without traveling. I hope 4 times per year.
All right, so what I'm hearing: emotionally healthy, physically fit, does sports and active, travels, provides and protects, has a home in the country, Ukrainian, live next to the forest or river, having home. Do you guys have kids?
Yeah. Oh, I forgot about kids. I want
You'll
kids.
have kids. And when you said, by the way, about his look physical, he's like, well, if he's not too sporty, I will make him kind of. By the way you meet a man, that's how you gotta accept him, not changing him. He will resent that, so you gotta be very clear. But fine, okay. Vacations and travels, you can have your yoga room. This is a lot, so you know, okay? So you're asking. Now, Edith and Anya, are you having a clear picture what you want? Because this is important. What is that you want?
What I'm looking forward right now is that we spend time together, like high quality time. We go together to theaters, cinemas, and we are doing that. So we are on a very good pathway to, to getting to know each other better and spend time together, and hopefully to, commit more closely in the future. So yes, so I already have a clear picture what I want.
Very good. But Anya, I would like to also share, and for you ladies to start thinking about, how long are you dating this guy, and when are you getting engaged and married? Because some guys will be dating you for 3-5 years. That's what's going on in their heads. Some don't even want to get married, and this is something that you're also not communicating. And this is something you gotta know. So
I agree.
when are you committing to him? When are you getting married? Will you have kids with him or not? Will you live in his home or your home, or you'll buy another home? This is all of the specifics that you gotta know. What is that you want?
I'm thinking about getting married, but I don't have clear picture of it in my head. And I'm not sure is it good or is it bad. I know that we are thinking very similarly, that we want to commit and live together, but we didn't put it on a timeline or...
Now, just wanted to coach you. If you're not certain if you're gonna get married or not, your relationship gonna continue zigzagging. So it's better for you to know and to be very specific. Yes, I want to move in with him in a year. Not being attached to it, but having at least a picture, or I want to get married and for us to be together. Or if you're certain that you don't want to move in together or get married, that's good too, as long as you know what is that you want. And being fully authentic. Because if you don't know, you'll be just going right and left, and that's what makes us very uncertain and really unhappy as a woman because we know what we want, but we're not communicating that to ourselves and to our partners. The earlier that we know, the more certainty, confidence, and happiness that's gonna bring you. So I would like for you in this program to start thinking about it, because maybe that is just past fears that is in the background.
Maybe, yes,
Yeah?
because I'm in this state right now.
Totally. Thank you for acknowledging. Edith, do you want to share what is that you want, but we have a short time, just maybe in a minute? What exactly do you want?
So for me, I see myself with a person who is definitely a provider, very wealthy, rich, has influence. I also see myself in a very big house with a garden. I want to be cooking my husband healthy dishes, and I want to be getting my stuff from my garden. I see myself in a big house with so many girlfriends coming to visit me. And then I see myself traveling a lot with my husband. And I see myself, my husband, adoring me as the most beautiful creature on earth. Yeah, I also see my husband being definitely handsome, not extremely, but there somehow handsome, not so ugly. I see kids, but I cannot see how many kids. I definitely know there's gonna be a daughter.
Beautiful, Edith. Well, let me
Yeah.
just quickly share. So you want a provider, not just provider,
Yeah.
but very rich and wealthy provider.
Correct.
You have a big house, garden, and friends coming over that you're cooking and doing the breakfast and dinner. Now he's on top of it, handsome, and you guys have kids. Now, ladies, get ready for this.
And has influence.
Oh, on top
Like,
of it, sorry,
has
this
influence,
is a big
yeah.
one. And on top of it, he has an influence. Well, first of all, thank you, ladies, for being authentic and share. So let's just get into it. So you're gonna start being in the reality. Imagine, like in any store, you came with a need to purchase something. The dating pool is the same as a store where you purchase apples, milk, meat, and other things. To go to the store, you need money and clear understanding what you want to buy. If you go to the store hungry but not sure what you want, you'll get a bunch of food but not what you really wanted. Going to the store pretty with makeup will not get you to buy what you need, because to go to the store, you need to have money. So what I'm trying to say is that you must be clear of what you need and also how to get it. The same thing in a relationship. You enter a relationship in order to get what you need, which we're again discovering now what you need and what actually you want. For example, I need a husband, not a civil marriage or relationship, but actual husband, marriage. I want a house, kids, and him being responsible, for example. I want to stop working and being overwhelmed and stop being stressed working full time. I want regular intimacy and connection and conversation with the husband. And now you came to this imaginary store of single men who came there also to get something. And everyone is coming to the store to get what they need. But not everyone will get what they need because they all just gonna get something, but not something that they really want. And so we got that in order to get to the store, you need money. But in order to get a man, you need to understand what this man wants and needs. Is that clear? You ladies, for example, Edith and Ola, you want rich, influence, very wealthy, and having like at least a daughter. And all of this influence. Ola, you want handsome, sporty, home provider, all of this good stuff. But you need to understand what this man actually wants and needs. And now I'm gonna share an example with you. And please listen and be with it. 20 years ago, I had a client. And he came in one day, he was in his mid-20s, and he said very proudly, Alisa, I think I want to get married. I said, did you meet a woman? He said, not yet. I said, oh, interesting. Do you mind if I'll coach you? And he said, sure. I said, do you mind writing down what do you want from a woman? And he was sitting down, and in 15 minutes, he wrote down 56 points. And I thought, please read it to me. And so he said, I want her to be blonde, blue eyes, this height, this breast size, this hip size, the waist size. Very 10 things were very superficial. And then he was saying, oh, she's pretty, she's smart, she has career, she's intelligent. 56 points. Now I said, great, take a piece of paper and write down, what can you give to this woman with 56 points? He got really serious, frustrated, upset, and was trying to write down something for 20 minutes with serious face. After 20 minutes, I saw only one point and I said, can you please read it to me? And you know what he wrote? So I said, so what are you gonna give to this amazing woman with 56 points? And he said, I am willing to give her advice when she will be going in distress in life. I looked at him and I said, we'll call him John. I said, dear John, when you gonna find a woman with this 56 points that will be willing to be with you, for you just to give her advice when she'll be going through this stressful time? It's like winning a lottery. I wish you good luck. He stood up, shook my hand, and he got what I meant. He left, but he fully got what I'm talking about. And so the exercise that I want you to do right now is to take a piece of paper and to write down, because we heard what you want, but I would like for you to write down, what are you willing to give to a man? Because if you want 25 things from him, and you want to give him only 5 things, the math is not working. You're just not going to attract this man. For every point that you want, you got to be willing to give him that, because there's a cost. Like, you're buying a milk, you're paying $5. You're buying the steak, you're paying $20. You want him to be a provider. What are you willing to give him? Because man is walking in like this store, let's say this dating pool, and they don't have in their forehead, yes, I'm rich, I'm wealthy, I'm willing to have 3 kids and take care of you, provide, lead, and protect, and I'm physically fit, and I'm not drinking, and I'm not smoking. But he wants something too. He needs something too. And what are you willing to give him? And I know for you, Gabby, you're already a wife, and you're a mother, but what are you willing to give to David so that he will be listening to you and you can be talking to him with honesty, and he will be there and listening to you, not making you wrong. So I would like for you to start being authentic and start writing down what are you can give to a man. Is that clear?
Mhm.
Take 5 minutes to do it. Okay, who would like to start? What are you willing to give to a man? How many points you have so far?
I have 15 points.
You have 15 points. Okay, start sharing though.
So what I'm going to give my husband is healthy food, laughter and pranks, beauty, kids, class, elegance and poise, fun through dancing and games, company, voice of reason, clean house and clean home, present mother, good listener, feminine figure, politeness. I'm going to be polite. I'm going to be gentle to him, and I'm going to be faithful.
Oh, very good. Thank you, Edith. Wonderful. Anyone else who wants to share? What can you give to this provider, leader, and protector, and with the home and the fence and the kids and all of this good stuff? Who wants to share? Yes, Ola.
My time, love, support, respect, believe in him, understand, cozy home, food, harmony, healthy and wealthy lifestyle, happy family, safe space, friend, listener, lover, beauty, energy, quality time, spirituality.
Wonderful. Ayana or Anya or Gabby?
Trust in his word, accepting him, accepting things from him gratefully, encouraging his interest, accepting his vision for his life, supporting him, speaking kind words, giving respect, appreciative of his actions, receiving his support and his encouragement and his finances, is soft towards him, is grateful, follows him spiritually, like in our religion, I should say, not controlling of his plans, proud of his accomplishments, receiving intimacy from him. He can expect me to prioritize my health and well-being, to make a home, and use his finances wisely, stay physically active. That's important.
Can I
yeah.
correct when you said receiving his
Support and his finances.
this, and also receiving when something about intimacy?
Yes.
Change that. Instead of receiving is like he's doing it and I'm just receiving it. Appreciating or accepting, or rather giving. Otherwise it's like, or he's doing and I'm receiving. Okay.
Yeah.
Right? So we want to be appreciative, or we want to welcome, or we want to acknowledge something, along that line.
It's funny, I started putting what I could give, and then I'm glad that you said something. I also realized that some of this I should probably say something as well. Like when I'm tired, not cooking, the majority of the time, most of our meals I cook at home. So when I'm tired, not to cook, or just not to do certain other activities, whether it's like seeing family and stuff, letting more family babysit, and when I'm upset, just to listen and not try to solve it right away.
This is beautiful, Gabby. In 30 minutes, I'm gonna start sharing, and it's gonna be fully to you and the rest of you ladies, how you can actually communicate to a husband what doesn't work, so he will get it. So we're just gonna get to that very shortly. That's what you're gonna get the most out of the program today. It's gonna be mainly for you, Gabby. And so this is really wonderful. So thank you for being vulnerable and authentic and sharing right now. You're already looking into it, but there's still something missing that we're gonna get to very, very soon. So ladies, what are you getting so far from this exercise? Because I want to acknowledge you for sharing what you can give to a man. But I would like for you to also get that the quality, and you shared about a quality man, has a price tag. You think that just having a provider, it's, well, I have so much to give. You have a lot to give. But the providers and leaders that you share, and plus for you, Ayana, you also got to share that I want a man who is probably Muslim. Olga, you probably want to share that this man is also spiritual. And so you are really looking for a high quality man. And high quality men who are providers, leaders, and protectors have a price tag. And when you go, there's a big difference between Kia that is 1980 or Mercedes or BMW 2024. And going to a date or attract a man, it's like that. And you gotta remember, what are you willing to give to get what you want? To check what you want with what you can give. It's just, again, if you want 25 things from a man, there's 25 things that you can give. Otherwise, math just doesn't match. And we have to be in the reality of what's so, because a woman does this. So you have this fantasy how your man, right now, you're clear what you want. And then you meet someone and you just put his face into this fantasy and not clearly checking, well, he's not Muslim, he is not spiritual, he doesn't have a home or doesn't want to live in the forest or urban area, he actually doesn't want to have 3 or 4 kids. But you have this fantasy, and every man that comes in, you just put his face into this fantasy. And that's why I wanted to do this exercise. Because when you meet a man, you're just like, oh, good looking, I have emotions and feelings, and you go for it, ignoring what you really want. So now you have to be authentic, because when we're going into a dating, we're forgetting everything that we actually need and want. And you compromise 90% of what you just share. Please raise your hand if you agree. Do you get it? And so when we're dating, especially if you're single, you gotta stop your emotions and feelings. You gotta use logic. And that's why when you go on a date, you gotta ask questions. What is that you want? Where would you like to live if you're married? How many kids would you like to have? And that's what you need to discover if you're single. Otherwise, it's just you putting the face of this guy and you're already thinking about all of these things, you know? You basically want him to become this fantasy that will give you this wealth, rich, sporty, not smoking, not drinking. But the reality, he is overweight. He is not exercising. He is not a provider. He didn't even pay a bill in a restaurant. And we gotta stop our emotions and feelings. In the dating, we gotta use logic. Otherwise, you're so far away from what you want and what you need. And then 6 months and a year later, you'll be so exhausted doing everything yourself. Is it very clear or not?
Yes.
Yes. Now, I would like for us to shift to a spiritual conversation of what a man needs from us, the 3 fundamental things. This is not psychology, because we covered in the past and we can go over later what he needs and what he wants from the psychological realm. But right now, I want to share the 3 things, the core things that every man wants in a relationship. This is at the core what every man really wants on the spiritual realm. And if you do those 3 things, that's the only way a man will open up his heart to you. That's the only way. So who wants to guess? What are those 3 things?
Respect is one.
Respect is very vague. This is action. 3 things that we women do that communicates to a man that you are the one, that he loves you. And in the process, he does feel deep respect from you. What are those 3 things?
Feminine energy.
Feminine energy is part of it. When you're doing it, it's a feminine energy, because those 3 things, when you're doing it, you're not faking. You can fake anything, even orgasm, but you cannot fake those 3 things. And that's what a man feels, that you love him, and he starts opening up his heart to you. And you know why we want his heart to be open? Because he starts to listen to you. And when he starts to listen to you, guess what you're doing? You can start influencing him. And deep in our core, we really do want to influence our man because we want the best for them. But until he opens up his heart, you cannot influence him, because men are very logical. They're living here, and only those 3 things will get him to listen to you from his heart. And this is very hard to achieve. When he will start listening to you from his heart, even if he'll see prettier women, younger women, women who are hitting on him, he will still be loyal to you. He will be influenced by you. He will listen to you. He will love and respect you. And it's a very big deal. This is some really deep spiritual knowledge that every woman must know. But unfortunately, in the modern society, nobody does it. They don't understand how important this is to a man. So keep thinking, what are those 3 things? Any ideas?
I guess
I'm thinking acceptance.
Acceptance exactly of what?
Of who he is.
This is psychological thing that is important, but right now we're talking about spiritual.
Okay.
But good guess, good guess.
Put the God first.
Not it. This is again very important, but this is how he looks at you. If you do practices, you slowly get to the point that you can practice those three things with him. This is on you. But what does a man need from a woman? Start thinking.
I was gonna say to pray for him.
This is part of your askeza. And that's what gets you again to doing those three things.
Energy.
Every man needs an energy, of course, but this is not what he really, really needs from a woman, where he feels like, she's the one. But let's start. There's three things. The number one, you gotta get that a man he's basically either asleep in life, and that's why he is not providing, leading, and protecting, and he is a victim in life. He's basically asleep. Or a man is either in a fighting mode. Every time a man goes to work, he's going to war. And he fights other bulls like him. And so to a man, it is very important to have this vision or goals or career that he's heading towards. But guess what a woman feels? When he's investing so much time and energy at work, she feels competition. And she even feels sometimes jealousy. And he spends so much time working, emailing, talking to clients because she wants all the attention to herself. And when a man comes from work and she says, or generally, I am so proud of you. I so admire you for your vision and where you're heading. A man feels relaxed that a woman gets him. Write it down. This is the first thing that a man really needs from us. His pressure completely gets off of him, and he feels you're the one, and understand how this is important for him. His vision to grow his business or becoming CEO in a company or a manager, and you are supporting him. You have his back by saying, I am so proud of you, of your vision, or where you're heading in life. He will not show it to you, but in his heart, when you say that, he feels that you got him. You understand him. You understand his core. And this is how he feels. You are the one. He feels really good, really proud that you are his woman. This is a big deal, again, for men to be happy. They gotta be providers and protectors and leaders, because that's when they're conquering challenges at work, when they're succeeding. That's what makes them manly. For us, it degrades us. And so when we're looking at them, oh, relax, you don't have to put so much time into this call and business, you are cutting him off. You're in a way, it's like, why she doesn't get me? And so when you're encouraging him, I am proud of you, what you're doing, he feels like, oh my God, this is my queen. Do you get how this is important? Because at the core, this is who they are. Because businesses and work exhausts us. And we are judging them based on us. But to them, it's everything. That's who they are. When a woman relaxes because she's born for happiness and love, we feel happy. Woman goes to work, she's exhausted, her energy goes down. She feels it's so unfair. But to a man who works, he feels proud of himself. Any questions about that?
The first point, sorry, like what you were discussing, what a man needs, I didn't get it. Yeah.
You like one in one sentences. I think it's like acknowledge his effort. like Amrit, how we can like put it, because Amrita was saying everything, like how we need to support him and proud of him, but like we can say acknowledge his effort.
Admiration.
Or admiration.
Yeah, but you gotta get, we're admiring and appreciating his basically vision, his goal, where he's heading. We're acknowledging that his goal or his career or where he's heading is great. And you're proud of him, of what he's doing. That's how he feels the support. Because a lot of times you're thinking support, oh, if he is broke, let me pay half a rent. Or let me listen to his problems. If you're listening, Anya, you mentioned that, listening and support. Big no. When you are listening to a man's crying, he starts to think of you as a counselor or mother. A mother can listen to a son. But it is not your duty to listen to his problems, because you're going to continue to start dumping his emotional problems, financial problems, and talking about it to you. And you got to get very clear. For those of you who haven't been in my program, I would like to write it down. I would like for you to remember this formula for the rest of your life. First, we have Creator, God. Then we have a husband, father, a man. Then we have mother, wife, a woman. Then we have kids and cats and dogs. A father, a husband, cannot go down to share his problems with his wife, his woman. It can go the other way around. Right now, men don't have best friends and older to go to. And so they're used to just dumping their problems on the mother. When they share on the wife and mother their problems, a mother or wife dumps her problems on kids. And shouldn't be like that. Kids go to mother or father, wife goes to husband or God, and husband goes to his bodies or God, but not the other way around. If you allow a man to dump his problems on you, it's gonna go in circles and you will be continually dumping the problems on kids, or you're gonna be poisoning yourself. Very little, but as soon as it gets heavy, you're like, honey, I feel so compassionate to what you go through. And then I will coach you how to tell him what's not working, so he will stop doing it. We'll get to that in a moment. But right now, just please remember the formula. You're not his counselor. You're not his mother. You're not supposed to listen to his emotional and financial breakdowns. You're gonna poison yourself emotionally and physically, and that's not good for you, because you will dump this on your children. You're not gonna be the best quality mother and wife if you're overwhelming yourself with his breakdowns and problems. Do you agree or disagree with that? You get that, right? Because a man is older, we go to him, not the other way around. Okay? And so, the moment you say, I am proud of you and your vision and where you're heading, a man feels relaxed. That he is not competing with you, and you're not competing for his attention, and you get him and his world. Because otherwise, most of the time, women are competing. I need you all, and I don't want to share with you, with your business and your company and your colleagues and partners and all of the employees. Now, also what you need to know, that let's say, well, first of all, Creator assigns to a family, let's say $100K, $100,000. And what most women don't understand, that let's say you're working and making $50,000, and your husband is making also $50,000, or you're making $40,000 and he's making $60,000 a year, hypothetically. But the moment you stop working because your family got allocated above by Creator to make $100,000, guess who will make this $100,000? Your husband. Is that clear? Because when you're trying to get the money, and let's say, well, I want to help my husband, I'm working, you're making this 50K, but because you're working, you're gonna be mostly, if not fully, in your masculine energy, your man won't be able to make more. And therefore, you'll be making 50, and he's competing with you because you're going to a masculine world making money. He'll be making only 50K as well. But sometimes women think, I don't want to just make 50K. I want to make 100K. Husband is making 50 and I want to make 100,000. What she doesn't know, she is going against what Creator has meant for them as a family unit. She will get that $100,000. But what will start happening, she's gonna start deteriorating emotionally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, and she'll spend this $50,000 on doctors, psychologists. This is what I was doing the last 2 years of my practice. Spending money, physical therapists, chiropractors, massage therapists, counselors, because I was overwhelmed. So this is not just spiritual knowledge. I actually gone through it myself. Deteriorated my health in 2 years, the worst possible way. And all the money was going on doctors and vacations in order to recuperate. Because I tried to jump over what I was supposed to make. This is very important, ladies. Are you clear about it?
Yes.
Because now, as I'm fooling my feminine energy, doing this program is not a work to me. It's a full self-expression. Doing a retreat, yeah, that's a little bit on the masculine energy. That's why I can do it only once, maybe twice a year at the most. But when I'm fully in my feminine energy, guess who I'm giving 70% of my feminine energy to? Husband and our son. And using my feminine energy, whatever I was making, now my husband is making. Do you get it? That's the way it works. Because some women think, well, in this economy, there's no way men can afford to take care of me and 2 children. Yes, he can. If you are praying or meditating and in your feminine energy, when you give that to him, that's how he actually grows and makes money. If you're making money, you're competing with him, he goes actually lower and makes less. Any questions about it? Because you gotta understand this math. If you're not clear about it, you would still think, well, but I gotta help him, but at least I gotta do this, at least I gotta do that. You are not helping him. You're taking away his leadership as a man. You're sending the message, I don't trust you. Yes, I get Anya, Ayana, Olga, Edith, you're not married yet. But you gotta look, is he paying for my lunch and dinner and theater and movie and Starbucks when he's taking you out? This is the sign that he's a provider and protector. If you're doing 50-50 during the dates, I promise you when you're gonna move in or marry, you're gonna continue doing 50-50. Clear about that? Okay. Ready for the second point? Now, second thing that is actually very, very important. On a deep core, on a spiritual realm, every man wants to be fed by his woman. Now, to us women, when we eat, we're not really eating. we're tasting food. Little bit here, little bit there. For us, taste is important. And therefore, we're judging our men that food is not a big deal for them. Please know, food is a huge deal for a man. You gotta know this formula. The first we covered, now the second. When a man eats, he almost like pigs out. He gotta stuff his belly, because to him when he's eating, guess what? Subconsciously it's happening. He is prepared for the next day to go to war. It's like almost he's getting his bullets, his weapons, his knives, his uniform renewed, cleaned, fully prepared to go back to battle tomorrow. And so he's stuffing himself. But what's for us women? You go on a diet, you're becoming vegetarian, vegan, and you cook vegetables for him too, and you're like, honey, eat some vegetables. Oof, that hurts, man. You gotta feed him what he likes. Even if it's a bad food in your mind, 5 sausages or 2 steaks, you're like, this is ridiculous. He'll have high cholesterol. When he'll grow spiritually in 10 years or next life, he'll eat veggies. But not in this life. He wants 2 steaks, you give him 2 steaks. To him, it's a war. Because again, a man either asleep and he's a couch potato, or he goes to war every day, he has to provide for who? For you. For you. I get excuses only for Gabby. Right now, she doesn't sleep at night because she's breastfeeding a baby. She can skip sometimes preparing his steaks. But she gotta communicate, honey, I didn't sleep well, I'm tired. Do you mind grabbing something so we can both eat? And he feels loved. Oh, poor honey is tired, cannot cook, but she's telling me that, so I can buy something for both of us. You're excused if you're pregnant and if you're breastfeeding. But still, whenever you feel good, you still gotta cook. But now I'll tell you what you gotta tell him when he's eating. We as a women, you're staying home, you're not working, you're overwhelmed with your emotions, so you're feeding him and now dumping all of your emotions on him. A man feels so overwhelmed. You gotta, no matter how much you wanted to tell him how was your day, you gotta zip it. You gotta be quiet while he's eating. The moment he fully stuffs his belly with his steak or 2 sausages and mashed potatoes or whatever he likes, that's when you can share. But not until then. Is that clear? You gotta prepare his food that he loves and not dump your emotions on him while he's eating. Very, very important. What Western women does? Box, microwave, have some pizza, have some whatever. This is not love. When you are feeding your man, it communicates deep in his heart that you love him. Especially if you prepare something that he loves. You put the effort, you went to the store, you prepared his favorite meal. It's like, oh, she loves me. She knows how it's important for me to go tomorrow to the battlefield and go fight other bulls, other soldiers. Is that clear? Really big deal to a man that you're feeding him. Try to find a man who doesn't like food. You won't provide a leader and protector? Gotta feed your man. Yeah? Now, third, some of you mentioned this, but you don't understand how this is important for a man. A man fully opens his heart. He basically melts, but he's not gonna tell you this. But when you say this, his heart is tuning to you and opens up to you. And this is your loyalty. To a man, honestly, this is probably the most important thing. But not that he will understand your loyalty. You gotta actually tell him, honey, you are the one. I am so happy with you that I have you. You fulfill me fully. I don't need anyone else. Ladies, you gotta write it down. You are the only one that I need. You fully fulfill me. When a man hears that he is it for you and that you're loyal to him, this is it. His heart melts. Now, I'll be honest with you, ladies. You can fake anything in a relationship, but not those three things. But if you're telling him this, but you're in the background thinking he's not the one, he will feel that. If you're still searching for other guys online or chatting with your friends, he will feel it. He will know that. You cannot fake this. But in order to get to that loyalty, guess what do you need? To appreciate your man for all of the wonderful things that he does. What do you think you need? How can you achieve that? Any guesses?
When you will feel protected, when you will feel protected and relaxed.
It's not about you, actually. It's about what you need to do.
To achieve this, to do this three stuff, yeah? Or I didn't get the question.
In order to feel that you actually loyal to him and see all of his amazing, great qualities, and to feel this loyalty towards him, what do you actually need to do?
Commit to him.
To commit to him? In order to see the best qualities in a man, because 99% of the time, we as a women, we actually ignore the good. We concentrate on what's not working. We have that thing. And by the way, if you want to influence your man to change, these are three things you need to do. And we will talk more about it. But in order to see the best qualities in your man, you actually gotta serve him. And concentrate on his good qualities. Maybe that just one thing, he pays for the bills and he takes the trash out. Maybe that's the only two things that he does. And the rest you don't like, that he's messy, that he stopped working out, and that he started even drinking wine on the weekends. You don't like those things. But if you concentrate on the fact that he's taking trash and he's paying bills, and you start to serve him, you're gonna start seeing more and more good qualities in him and start opening your heart to him. Because we usually, as a human beings, we're very selfish in nature. We're like, what can you give me? But the moment you're like, what can you give me? A man does what in return?
He doesn't give. He becomes like really stingy.
Exactly. Because then he's thinking, what can you give him? And that's how you're playing the selfish game. Do you know the formula of happiness really in a marriage? My husband and I were never thinking, what can you give me? You know what we do? We're constantly giving. Exactly. You know, with so much joy, I just feed him. And with joy, I'm washing the dishes after him. And with joy, I pick up his socks and I go wash it. And with joy, when he comes from work, I hug him and kiss him. And I put his food when he goes to work and I hug him and kiss him. Give. Keep serving and giving. The more you serve and give, oh my God, how much you can get back. That's the way the energy works. You give, you serve, and they start giving and serving you back. That's how the love grows. Disconnect from what I can get. And if you're thinking you're giving, and he is not giving back, that's when you gotta start educating your man. And we're gonna talk about it. How man educates us and how we educating women is two different things. It doesn't work for men, what we usually do, and it doesn't work what they usually do with us. It's a completely different way of how we're operating. But so far, is there any questions about what we covered? 3 things. Acknowledging where he's heading, be proud of that. Support him so he can relax, that you're not competing with him and his attention. Number 2, feeding him and be quiet while he's eating and feed him what he likes. And number 3, loyalty. You're putting all the basket into your husband, not anyone else, thinking that, oh, maybe they'll be a better husband, better boyfriend. No, him. When you're engaged and married, until then, there's pool of other men. But once you're engaged and once you're married, this is it. He needs loyalty. That's when he will conquer the world for you. Man needs those 3 things. That's only when they open up their heart for you. Everything else, otherwise, it's a logic. Men are very logical. Any questions about it?
Yeah, I have a question.
Yes.
These points applied only for when you engage and if it's your husband. It's not for your boyfriend, correct?
Well, absolutely. Because while a boyfriend, like we said, whereas
Maybe
a woman,
just start dating, maybe
Uh-huh.
still not even. Yeah.
no. This is a duty of a wife.
Mhm.
And if you're engaged but have a date of the wedding, if you have a ring but no wedding date, he might just give it to you just to sleep with you. And if the date of the wedding is in 2 years, there's still no commitment. It has to be within a year. But no, you don't do that with a boyfriend. He's not your husband and he didn't take responsibility over you. Once he does it, that's when you do it. Boyfriend doesn't deserve it. He is not a provider, leader, and protector. He's dating other women, and you are dating other men. Not sleeping with other men. You're dating. And you're seeing who is matching those 20 points that you wrote down that you want in a relationship and marriage and from a man. And you're not using your emotions, you're using your logic. In the dating, we have to use our logic. We cannot go by our emotions. Our emotions was just, do you know that, ladies, we go on a date, on the first date, with basically white wedding dress. We're already thinking, oh, his last name gonna be on me like that, our baby's gonna look like that, and our wedding gonna look like that. You gotta stop that. You gotta use your logic. And slowly asking gently questions in a feminine manner to get, is that the guy that can give you all of this? Is he spiritual? Is he fit? Does he wants to have a house next to river, next to forest, and all of that? Clear? And if not, there's other guys. You're dating other guys. You're not putting a wedding on your first date dress. You don't. And you're not matching his last name on your date. And not imagining how your kid's gonna look like. You can't do that. Is that clear? Very good.
How, like when you said with loyalty, how you have to actually like say that to the guy, or else he doesn't really think, he's not thinking it.
He
So
doesn't
just
know.
being vocal
Mm-hmm.
and speaking more.
Yep. You know, a man deep in his heart is doing all of this for you, but in return, they will never say that they want your loyalty. And a woman must verbalize that she is loyal. Other men is always guessing. Men are actually, without you knowing, are very insecure. Very insecure. And they're thinking sometimes, Do I make enough money? They compare themselves to other men. Do I please her sexually? Do I provide the way she wants to? Even though he's focused on his career, but in the background, he's doing it really for you. And therefore, they have this insecurity. Am I good enough? And if you're not verbalizing that you're loyal, men are very insecure. And when you are saying that you're loyal, in that moment you melt his heart. Only in that moment a man is actually tuning into you. And this is your access to start influencing him. Because deep in our heart, we really want to get our men to be happy, healthier, more successful, better husband, better father, a better son, whatever that we want. If you do those three things, he starts to trust you and opening up his heart to you. Because here's the thing, ladies. In spiritual books it says that our weakness is here. Vedas are even saying we have a hole in our forehead. And that's when we go on a date and men start to saying all kinds of logical and intellectual things, we're kind of like, oh my God, this is so much. We get overwhelmed, but we're listening with our heart. And we're like, yeah, I believe him, this is truth. Or no, I don't believe this is not truth. Everything that I'm sharing, you listening with the heart. And you're like, yeah, this is the truth, I'm taking it in. Or no, I don't like this is not truth, and you're brushing it off. And so our weakness is our mind, but our strength is our heart. With men, it's the opposite. They're very strong here. Their logic, their rationale, their intelligence. That's why if you see who got the most patents are men. 99% of patents is made by men. Geniuses. 95% of geniuses are men. Because they made biologically are more intelligent, more logical, more rational. This is where their strength. But guess where their weakness is? Their heart. And that's why when they're dating us, when they're in a relationship with us, there's a big minus. They're in a relationship with us with their head. And if they are in a relationship with us in the head, we cannot influence them because their logic and their rational will say, well, she's controlling me, she's manipulating me, she wants to change me, and that's why they will resist. And the only way you can influence if you do those three things. Because only then, because when you feed a man, he feels grateful that you set him up for a battle tomorrow. When you're loyal to him, he feels like, oh my God, she values me, she chose me, she loves me. And in that moment, their heart opens up. And when their heart opens up, you got access to it. That's when you can gently listen and gently influence him. I will tell you even more. That's when you can gently change your man. But this is the secret between you and us. I will tell you even. So every man has their shortcomings. My husband sometimes is very stubborn. Sometimes. And now I would like for you to listen to your man's shortcomings. Maybe your man in the past, current, or maybe in the future, would be greedy, would be, let's say, stubborn, or whatever else, shortcomings. And so whenever I want, for example, for him to purchase something, but I'm stretching his budget, now listen very carefully. I will ask him to buy something. Let's say, for example, when we needed to put Alec in a private school, $25,000 per year, it's a big stretch for my husband that he was not expecting. And he's like, no way, that's too expensive. Let's find another school, and let's find another school. And guess how a woman, when she enters a man's heart, how she can influence him. So I feed him his favorite steak, even though I don't eat meat. I make his favorite steak, his mashed potatoes, and he's eating and he's drinking his favorite juice that I bought in the Russian store. He just finished eating. I also baked his favorite pie. He just ate his pie with the tea. Now he's full. I tell him, come, my stubborn, greedy bear, let's go for a walk. Do you get that? You are saying this, what's not working for you, with love and very gently. Let's come, my greedy, stubborn bear. Let's go for a walk. I take him by his arm. We go for our daily walk around subdivision. And I say that, my greedy, stubborn bear. One day, second, third. On the fourth day he comes, he's like, okay, let's put him in that school. Do you get it? No, for example, your man doesn't want to commit to you. You feed him and you say, come here, my scared of commitment baby. Let's go watch a movie. Let's go for a walk. If you're gonna use sarcasm, frustration, or anger, he's gonna battle you. He's gonna battle you and you're not gonna get what you want. But if it's with love and very gently, you can poke him, but with so much love, he will get it. Sometimes immediately, sometimes 2, 3, 4 days later, but he'll get why. Are you calling him greedy? Why are you calling him stubborn? But it has to be with love, with so much love. It's like I love you, my stubborn, greedy baby. My bear, my tiger, whatever that is, my honey. You get it? Now, if a man does this to a woman, that's not gonna work. You can never criticize a woman directly. To a woman, for example, let's say a woman is lazy and doesn't do dishes. A husband gotta come home and say, listen, my friend called me today and he's complaining that his wife is not doing dishes, doesn't clean, doesn't cook, and he was even thinking maybe he married a wrong woman. He even thinking maybe he should get another wife. A woman gonna start thinking about it. She will first will give him an advice. He will ask her, what do you think my friend should do? She's gonna start giving him advice, what he should tell to his friend. And then the woman gonna start thinking, a week, second week, why my husband told me that maybe I'm also lazy, maybe I am not doing dishes, maybe I am not cooking, because she's very close to conscience, very close to creator. So a woman gonna get it. And then she's gonna start changing her behavior, cleaning dishes, cooking. But if a man will tell directly, why are you not doing dishes? Why are you not cooking? Oh, that punches woman in the heart and she'll be very hurt. She cannot accept criticism from people that she loves. That's why a man can never, ever, ever criticize his woman. That just punches her in the heart. But for a man, if you do this indirectly, very few gonna get. You need to say to a man directly, and this is Gabby for you. Honey, I know you and boys had fun drinking, my drunk baby. Let's go for a walk, you know? And you're just telling him, come here, my drunk baby who likes to drink with boys and walking with the baby. Do you get it? Like that. A man needs to hear. But if you're gonna say it, there is something wrong with him, you won't be able to correct him. If you say it gently with love, that's how you're influencing him, And sometimes man needs to hear 30 or 40 times before he'll change his behavior. Now it takes my husband between 2 to 3 times, sometimes immediately, depending how big of an issue or small of an issue. But we as a women have to communicate. But this is how we communicate. Ladies, you can completely get anything you want from a man and influence him if you do those 3 things and communicating in this manner. This is your biggest formula for life. Until you can communicate like that, do not even say anything. Just with love. Smiling. And mention what's not working. Any questions about it? Because it's very important that you get it.
So I guess my question is, when I guess you definitely start with, my greedy baby bear, like kind of a deal.
First of all, no, you don't start like that. You feed him first.
Oh, you feed him first.
You
for
feed
sure.
him first. And then only when he stopped eating and he's like, only then you can say, come here, my drunk baby who likes to drink with boys and walk with our baby. Let's go watch a movie or let's go for a walk. Kind of like that. You get it? You poking him, but with love.
Once you've done that, is it during the walk that you bring up your concerns?
No.
Or
No.
you just start with that and you just kind of continue like if everything's fine?
Yes,
Okay,
because
I
if
see.
you are making the serious issue, you're basically saying, I don't trust your decision, and you're poking and criticizing him.
For sure.
He will take that, okay, she's poking me, he is whatever, he's taking that personally. And man gonna be in a defense mode, and moreover he'll try to defend, and by him defending him he will attack you, and
Sure.
we want to avoid. But what we need to do, the moment they mess up, he messed up,
Sure.
you kind of come here, my drunk baby, let's go for a walk. And if you ever want to talk about it, you gotta say it in such a way, honey, I love you. There's nothing wrong. But I just want to say that I was worried about you drinking with boys and walking baby Alexander. But again, nothing wrong. I just wanted to communicate my feelings. Such a quiet that nothing is wrong. I am just communicating my feelings.
Okay.
So there's 2 ways. My drunk baby who is drinking with boys, or nothing is wrong. I just wanted to communicate that I was worried. Because if it comes from the space of criticism, he will battle you. We don't want to get him looking at you as you're on another field, and he's gonna quickly get all his weapons and he's like, and we don't want that. Because the battle of communication, analysis, rationale, he'll use his mind, and you're like, okay, I lost this battle. We are winning the battle when we're using our heart. And our heart uses language of love and softness and femininity. Femininity is like, his weapons are gone. Now he is tuning to you because he is now opening his heart. And this is, ladies, we really want in a relationship our 3 needs. Who remembers our 3 fundamental needs? Gabby, you should know. Anya, Ayana, you should know. Who wants to share our 3 fundamental needs?
I remember one of them being told that we're pretty and beautiful and things like that. I don't know if that's not a fundamental need, but I guess to feel safe.
Yes,
For
this is
sure.
one of them.
If anyone wants to chime in, please. I'm trying to remember them. off
See,
the top of my
we
head.
really, really need to know. So you're talking about pretty, it's really appreciation. This is the third. Second is safety. But our first, guess what we're doing all the time with our men? We want closeness. Closeness. This is our fundamental needs. The reason why we're talking, listening, talking with us, women, with them, because we want closeness. And this is your access to being close to him. Men wants closeness to physical sex. For them, it's closeness. We get that is a completely different thing, how we can be close with them and how they get close to us. How it's important for men to have food. Yes, for men, sex is very important. We're gonna talk about it just a little bit later if you ladies want. But right now, I would like for you to get. You can get your need of being close to a man if you can get his heart opening up to you. And opening his heart is those three things, and how you talk in a gentle, soft, feminine way. Even gently criticizing him, but with so much love. Who has resistance towards the spiritual knowledge? It's like, no way I can be like that. Too difficult. There's no way. Who feels this way right now? Please share.
I have a question, yeah.
Yeah.
So, with how you're gently criticizing your man and you're being gentle and nice with a lot of love, is there a way you can mistake it to, and then you put it in a way like it's a child you're talking to? Gently criticizing a person that is your man.
Yes.
And then the way you are giving Gabby the example of my drunk baby and all that, can it shift to sound like you are talking to a baby and then he doesn't get the point?
I see what you mean. Thank you, Edith, for a question. But you mentioned a drunk baby. Baby is for the love. But there's also a drunk. And if you're saying every day until he gets that you're calling him a drunk baby, he start to think, why is she calling me drunk baby? Man will get it, you know? Man will get it. Of course, in Gabby's case, I would talk in a gentle way. Honey, I was really worried when you came home a little tipsy that you actually were drinking with boys. I'm just really worried, but nothing wrong. I just wanted to communicate my feelings because this is a big deal. Now, him not getting Alec to the private school that I found for $25K was not a really that big of a deal. I could have waited and we could have getting him to another school. But, you know, if he would be drinking and driving with our son, I would definitely have talked. I would even say, I was actually scared. I was really worried. What would happen to you or baby Alec, God forbid, if there would be an accident? But do you see how I'm talking? In the way I'm talking, a husband has only a room to guess, to say what? I am sorry. I messed up. I will never do this again. Because my voice, we gotta get that men, because they have hole in their heart, they're strong in their head, but have emptiness, their weakness in their heart. When we're very emotional, they block. They're weak against us. And so we have to bring our emotions 5 to 10% down. And when there's any kind of problems that my husband messed up, my voice is like this. Honey, I know that you wanted to get a glass of wine with boys, but when you did that, it scared me. I was so worried. I'm almost whispering, but I'm saying it with love and worry. We gotta learn to tone it down very much. But when we are worried and scared, what naturally happens? We want to express our fear, our anger, and our frustration. That's it. He's blocked, he doesn't listen, and he starts to defend and battle you back. That communication doesn't work with men. I am giving you really these huge fundamentals that really turned around my marriage. I would still be single if I didn't know those things. I promise you. Men are not complicated, but we need to know those things, how to communicate with them effectively, how to get to their heart. When you were writing all of those 20 things, how you're feminine supporting, this is how you're supporting him. This is your femininity, your respect and love, that he's provider, leader, and protector. This is it, and not how you're thinking. There's a big gap. To really get a provider, leader, and protector, we really gotta get to that feminine, soft, gentle energy that I'm sharing with you. What is there with you, ladies? Give me some feedback. Thank you, Gabby.
I'd have to work on like I'm just thinking about like my previous relationship and kind of like what you said with like when your emotions are high, it's hard to turn it off when you're trying to be heard, but then you're not gonna be heard.
Yep.
They have like the best like I don't hear you mechanism in their brain, so you're just not heard.
Yeah, they block. They block. And in that moment, you're an enemy. Do you get? Do you get that?
Yeah, and they're like against you.
Yes, you are not on his side. He sees you okay. She's the enemy. How can I battle you or really resist you altogether? And that's not what we want. Our 3 basic needs, the first one is closeness. Second one is safety. And third, appreciation. But having our high emotions, we're getting completely opposite. Yeah.
Maybe I can mention something.
Yeah.
Understanding how women communicate to men. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I may not be in a relationship, but I have seen it in my own family. Yeah. So my mom is very loud, and doesn't talk gently to my dad at all.
Yep.
And now my dad makes sure, now she sees my mom as the enemy.
Yep.
And he makes sure that every time they have an argument,
yeah,
she is pushed to the corner.
Yes.
And he ensures that my mom is down onto her knees.
Yeah.
So I have seen it in my own family, because if you don't tone down, the man sees you as the enemy and they will whip you.
Yep.
Whip, not technically.
Totally good.
They'll make sure you suffer the consequences. So I've seen it all the time.
Absolutely.
My dad makes sure my mom suffers the consequence.
Yes. Because when your emotions are high, you're showing, number one, that you're disrespecting him by battling him, that you don't respect and trust his leadership. And in that moment, he wants to just punish you. And a man will find a way to punish you. He knows what you want. He knows that you want to get married or have kids or for you to stay home and for him to work. He's gonna start resisting and stop giving you what you want. Do you get it? And we make men not on our side, but we make them against us. And so we really gotta work on ourselves. Any more questions?
Just maybe a comment from my side. I'm
Sure.
a bit surprised that food has so importance to men.
Yeah.
We generally know this in our culture that
Yeah.
you need to feed a man. There's such a saying that to get to man's heart, the way is through the stomach. But I'm surprised that it really has some significance. you
Yes,
know?
that's why there's a saying in your culture, in Russian culture,
Yes.
I'm sure in Middle Eastern culture, there's something similar to it. There's a point because we women, we judge men based on ourselves. We don't need, for us, food is not important. We're just okay, taste here. We're getting it for a taste. And we think that it's not important for them, but it is very important. The better he eats, the more he feels grateful. He's like, oh, she prepared me for a battle tomorrow. Men pig out a lot, they digest a lot, because to them it's a battle for the next day. But he's getting it that you are in this moment a woman who prepared him for a battle. I will tell you even more. During the 1990s in Russia, there were a psychologist, neuroscientist, psychoanalyst, and someone else who did the experiment. They went to soldiers who were already grandpas and to soldiers who were in their 40s or 50s, who've gone to Afghanistan and who've gone to World War II. And you know what they've studied? Men who knew that their wives were loyal and waited for them at home, they would do anything to come back home. With leg, without leg, with arm, without arm, they were committed to stay alive and to come home. And they were talking to soldiers who were sharing that their wives were cheating, or they had nobody, or they were divorced, and they had no motivation to come back home. And those the ones who died. Do you get how much we are holding the happiness of our men in our hands? Your loyalty is everything. You feeding him is sending the message that you have his back. And they are very grateful. Western women don't do that. They just don't. They're like, oh, I'm gonna put pants on and I'm gonna make a career and I can work too. And so women learned a language of career, but they didn't learn the most important language. The men's language in a relationship, what men actually need and want in a relationship and marriage. And please know that a woman is a soft and gentle outside, but we're very solid like a rock internally. If we made a decision no, for example, to something, like I don't like this girl, we kind of like this, no. We're not changing something, or I'm not gonna forgive someone. Women are very tough inside. Men are tough on the outside, and we're looking at them as this kind of lion and tiger. But please know, a men are like kids inside. They're very malleable. And that's how, if you get to his heart, you can influence him because they're willing to change inside. We're not. We're very stubborn inside. That's why for a woman to forgive someone is very tough. Women have to do a lot of work, a lot of praying and meditation to get to forgiveness. Very solid inside. But men, you gotta look at them after they finish eating or when they're falling asleep. That's when you really see their true colors. Everything else, it's a defense mechanism. They're really not tough inside. And they're very fragile. Very fragile.
I was even gonna say I appreciate you like sharing the like what they're feeling subconsciously about the food because very recently I was listening to a podcast with a psychologist and Tim Ferriss, who is like a serial entrepreneur. He started, for
Yes.
those people who know, Quest bars in the US.
Or 4 hours work week.
Yes, the 4 Hour Work Week, all that. And he has a very popular podcast. And so I was listening to him talk to the psychologist who, she actually specializes in childhood trauma, but she became viral talking about relationships. And she talked about how she's like, I don't know what it is about like feeding a man. And he was talking about how like much love he feels, but he couldn't explain why either. So it's one of those things like I heard it and I was like, okay, yeah, feeding your man, like it's important. You know, I see that it's important to them, but I guess it didn't hit me even hearing it from him.
Yeah.
Because not really knowing like what they're actually feeling, because he couldn't even explain it.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know how to explain it. Like it's something different. It's totally different.
Yeah.
And he was saying just how there were a lot of relationship issues that he had. His wife was a stay-at-home mom for like 20 years with their kids and everything. And then when she started her own business and like kind of what was happening. And I think he was actually sugarcoating some of those things, but he was admitting that there were issues.
Yep.
So, and even also how he was frustrated, how his wife was always saying, oh, relax, like you work too much. And he was like, don't you see I do this for you? Like he was kind of everything that you're saying right now, he was talking about. But I feel like he didn't really have the words to best describe the feelings.
Yeah, because again, in spiritual books, it's written in such a way that you feel like it's put in your mouth, you're chewing and swallowing it. Nobody else can describe it better than some of those Vedic books. And I wouldn't be able to share this knowledge if I didn't read it and experienced it and practiced it. Because only through feeding my husband, I feel that's when we truly connect and he feels grateful and he feels my love. Especially when I tell him that you're the only one. I'm so lucky to have you. You fulfill me. And every time I say that, he's like, he just like, his shoulders goes down and I feel like he melts. And the way in that moment when he gives me a hug, I feel his love from heart to heart. This is a big deal. Please know, ladies. Man needs our loyalty. They need us to feed them. It's kind of this invisible thread that you cannot explain, but it's there. And they need to feel that you have their back and approval. Go, succeed. I'm proud of what you're doing and where you're heading because they do want to leave their legacy. Each man, they want to be a leader at work, in the community, in church, or at least at home. Give them that approval. Moving on. Now, quick question. We as a women, when we get excited, we show a lot of emotions. Now, when a man, when you tell him that you love him and he's the only one, when he doesn't show you emotions, what do you think that means?
I used to think that I meant that he didn't feel the same, but I don't really feel that way anymore.
Exactly. Because a man cannot do two things at the same time. Men are single-focused. If he in that moment will say, oh, I love you back, I'm loyal to you too, that means he's faking and playing to do it for you. Please know that a man can do only one thing. And in that moment, when you're saying that to him, his mood is changing to open his heart to you. And so when a man is not emotional, please know it's a good thing. And he is going through the changes. If he is emotional, he's playing and he's faking. So don't try to make your man emotional. That is their nature. But when you do those three things, he feels it in his heart. Even if he's not showing you anything, his heart is getting touched and he's getting moved. Please understand our nature that is different from him. Now, if you go into our arguments with a man, this happens between a husband and wife, please know that don't have a deep emotional relationship. How do you get to the deep emotional relationship? This is what I covered. 3 things that we gone over. But before you even get to that, please know that the access for you to even do those 3 things authentically, you first got to start your spiritual journey. If there's no praying, if there's no meditation, if there's no mantra or affirmation, you will be pushing yourself to do it inauthentically. The energy of love and happiness we get as a women from 3 sources. First one is again through meditation, prayer, and your relationship to God. That's how you fill your heart with love and happiness, through Him, the major source. Second is through nature. But most of the time we're on the beach just laying down and watching the sea or the ocean. The nature doesn't get into your body when you're laying down. This is relaxation. If you want to experience the happiness, the energy, you gotta either walk or you gotta run in the nature. This is the askeza, okay? And so through the nature, we have to be active in the nature. And the third, we gotta be in a conversation with feminine women. Friendships, meeting, and communication with feminine women. Through that, you can start slowly moving to the authentic feelings of love and happiness, and then start serving your husband. First, it might feel inauthentic cooking for him. But the more you will cook for him, the more you're gonna appreciate and acknowledge him and share how loyal you are, it will become something that you actually feel. But again, please understand, if there's no meditation or prayer, all of that is gonna look like you are faking it. And men really feel when we're faking it. Yeah? Very good. And so, but psychologically, how you can overcome arguments, if we're talking about women, is we gotta share. Now, this comes to you, Gabby. I got to the point, ladies who are in a relationship, where my man knows that every day we go for a walk. Husband has time, 8 hours, 7 hours a day for work. We spend long time with our son, but 30 minutes to 45 minutes every day, we're walking together, and this is my time to do what?
Is share.
Yes. Please write it down. The only reason why people go into arguments, battles, drama, and fight in a relationship is because of accumulation of negative emotions. Please write it down. This is important. A man can go to the gym after work and release his stress of work. It doesn't work like that with us ladies. If we don't communicate with our husbands, our boyfriends on a daily basis, we're like volcano, accumulating more negative emotions and feelings, and it's a matter of time when we erupt. And that becomes nasty. That's what they're scared of. Every man really at their core scared of our emotions. And so every day I feed him. He feels full. After 15 minutes, I take him and I say, honey, let's go for a walk. We go for a walk, and that's when I share my day. I don't remember last time my husband and I had an argument. I authentically don't remember it. These three things and daily communication empties whatever that accumulated throughout the day. 1% here, 2% maybe here. And therefore, I don't have negative emotions. And for a man, hearing you 1 to 2% negative emotions, it's much easier when you are accumulating 50 or 100 and then you're erupting. And so, Gabby, you're walking with David, or you at the dinner, he ate, or you fed him, and you start talking to him. Honey, what's missing for me? And there's nothing wrong, but I really need sometimes alone time. Can you take baby Alexander for a walk for an hour every day? And can we ask your mom or my mom to sit with baby Alexander on Thursday and we can go on a date night? And you start talking about it. First 2 weeks, he might not do anything. He needs to hear it 20, 30 times until he gets that it's important for you. But you gotta communicate. You gotta communicate. You gotta communicate daily. I remember there was one thing. My husband would come home and would leave his dirty shoes right next to the door. Great, he's not walking with the shoes, but there's a place for the shoes. And for the most part, I do everything, but that thing was a trigger for me. I don't know why. And I would come after he would come home. I would kiss him and hug him. I would pick up his shoes, give it to him, and I say, honey, let's go. I open the closet and say, can you put it there? He'll put it there. I'll close the door and I'll kiss him and say, thank you so much. I feel so much better when next to the door we don't have 2 or 3 pairs of shoes. Alex leaves them. He leaves them. Like, we have a closet. I did this for 3 weeks. On the 4th week, without realizing, I noticed he's doing the routine, but I would greet him, pick up his shoes, will give it to him, and I would walk with him. And that's how you're changing your husband's or your boyfriend's behavior that you do not like. Guiding them, really. And hug him and kiss him. I'm so happy. Floor doesn't have shoes. Thank you, love. Same thing. How can you integrate something that you want him to do? He walks with you, he listens to you. You hug him and you kiss him and say, I feel so much better. Now I'll tell you even more. For everything that they do, they also want something in return. There has to be a reward. What will be your reward? And please know that to men, the best reward, what is it?
Sex.
Yes. And so sometimes you can put a lingerie on, cool music, and get into the mood. So he knows that he listens to you, he gets also a reward. This is their language. But do we want to talk a little bit about sexual intimacy, or do we go into spiritual one? Continue the spiritual one. What do you prefer?
I prefer sexual.
Okay. What about
Same.
Same, okay.
Same.
Same?
Yeah.
Okay. Please understand that yes, sex like food is very, very important for men. But this is only on the physiological realm. Please know on the spiritual realm, on a deeper level, those 3 things that we discussed, even more important to a man. And so with regards to sex, please know that there's 3 different categories. People with a low sex drive, high sex drive, and then there's 3% of people who have no sex drive at all. They're not impotent, they just don't have a sex drive. Sex is just not important for them. And there's less than 1% of people who have a very hypersexual drive, who need sex not every day, but several times a day. They're also very rare. Now, when you're dating, it is important at some point to discuss this. Because imagine that you have a low sex drive and you're dating a man with a high sex drive, or you're this 3% that have no sexual drive, and you somehow attracted the person who has hypersexual drive, who needs sex several times a day. It's a deal breaker. And so you cannot have sex if you don't want it. It is obvious. But at the same time, if you know that your man wants to have sex every day and you want to have sex only once a month, it's also a deal breaker. And that's where there has to be a balance. You gotta talk to a man. How many times a week would you like to have sex ideally? And let's say he says 5 times a day. And you know that you like to have sex only once a week. What do you think there should be a solution?
Another man.
What is that?
Another man.
One way, okay.
Or like 3 times a week?
Yes, and either next man, because it's a really doesn't match, because you just want to have really only once a week, and it's important for him to have 5 times a week. But please know that there's other ways to please a man, not just to have a sexual actually intercourse, right? Or negotiating it to 3 times. But at the same time, I would also like to talk about something that modern society doesn't talk about. Originally, what was the sex was meant for?
A kiss.
Exactly. To continue our family. And that's how a woman's body is designed. She has sometimes a little belly to protect her when she's gonna have a baby, because he's gonna be kicking. She has a breast to feed the baby. The way her face is, the way her body is curved, it's all gentle and feminine, all made to be a who?
Mother.
Exactly, a mother. But somehow, in the modern society, we turn sex into what?
Like a recreational activity.
Exactly. Into recreational activity for enjoyment. And psychologists proved that less sex is actually better than having a lot of sex. And men don't know that. They're thinking that sex is so available, they jump on the porn, they please themselves, and then as they're changing women or they go to porn, it creates more psychological damage than having sex only once a month or twice a month. But at the same time, this has to be verbalized with your man. Would you be willing to have sex only once a week? So he knows going into engagement and marriage that this is what your sexual drive is. Or you renegotiating and saying, well, how about 2-3 times a week instead of 5 days a week? That has to be discussed. Otherwise, this is going to be very unhappy man who has expectations, and his expectations are not met. And at the same time, we need to understand the man's psyche about sexual drive. If we ever watched porn or understand what porn is about, after 16 seconds, a man has intercourse with a woman. After 5-10 minutes, this ends, and there's the director, actors, and producers, and end. For a woman, if there would be a porn movies, really, it would start at 8 a.m. with kissing, touching, talking, and more kissing, undressing and dressing, and there will be this breakfast and this cherry and this pie and looking in their eyes, and in the evening there will be more dinners, dressing and undressing, and no sexual course yet, no, just kissing and just touching and massaging, and there's certain lights and there's certain music, and there's certainly again dinner and candle lights, and maybe after long kissing there's an intercourse, and after intercourse there's she's sleeping on his shoulder or laying down, and then they're drinking maybe coffee, or maybe they're chatting and talking again, or maybe eating croissant with the cheese and listening to music, and he tells her about the poetry and how beautiful her eyes is, and then she's falling asleep. And of course a man, he would not be interested in this kind of porn, and he would not purchase it. And that's why women are now compromising, thinking, I gotta be his fantasy, because men are purchasing their fantasy of this 5-10 minutes porn. When in reality, for us, it's a completely different day to how to get to sexual intimacy. And guess whose duties is it to get men educated how he can get to sleeping in bed with you at night if he really wants to?
Woman duty.
Yes. Please know that my husband knows that if he doesn't call and text me and buys me flowers, and we have flowers every week, and if he doesn't find me the right music, and he doesn't do a little bit of poetry and all of this 9 yards, there is no sexual intimacy. The foreplay starts at 8 a.m. Do you get that? But it works. Because in order to turn on a woman, there gotta be a lot of connection, a lot of talking, and there's massages, and there's certain points. And not just, okay, take off your pants, done. That doesn't work. What is there for you, ladies?
Yeah, I totally agree. And so pity that they don't have this porn for women, how to educate men. And this is how it's supposed to be. Women all the time learning, growing, and everything. Men, they think I'm perfect.
Yeah.
And this is how it's supposed to be.
Yeah. He looks at you. His penis is up. I'm sorry, excuse my language. I'm ready to go. We don't work like that. And it's up to us to educate. So I was telling my husband years ago, honey, do you want sexy time tonight? He's like, sure. I said, great. You know what I like? When you text me this and you text me that, and when you come, you touch me like that, and you kiss me here, and you whisper there, and you put music like that, and I like these roses and these flowers and this candlelight and more music like that, and I like massage and oil like that. And my husband looked at me, all of this? I said, yes, honey. He's like, I got it. Because he wanted to obviously get what he wants, he started learning. And every week, every month, it got better and better and better. But who educated it? Him? Me. And when he does it, please know that when a man pleases a woman her way, a man and a woman really enjoy sexual intimacy. If it's done his way, she is not fulfilled, and he's not fulfilled either. He just comes. But he doesn't have this kind of orgasm. So if you teach your man what and how to perform and what you need, you will be, wow, and he will experience the same way. But he cannot read your mind. Only you know those points and how he needs to talk to you, how he needs to text you, how he needs to smell, and what kind of music, and what kind of lighting, and all of that. And yes, he has to call his mom, and Alec has to do something with grandma, or it has to be at a certain hour, because I make love from 10 a.m. to noon, and from 8 p.m. till 10 p.m. This is my hours. In between, I can't. After 10 p.m., I fall asleep. I'm too exhausted. Before 10 a.m., I have to actually fully be in the zone. And so my man knows 4 hours. 2 hours in the morning, 2 hours in the evening. Nothing in between. He clearly knows. And you have your hours as well. He needs to know. He knows 10:05? No, there's no way. My brain is too tired. Any questions about that?
I guess my question is like, how do you navigate? Because I definitely see how, like, over time, a woman's libido kind of goes down,
Yeah.
but a man's doesn't. So I guess just over the course of like a long-term like relationship,
Yeah.
marriage, I guess what's kind of the best way to navigate that?
Gabby, I will tell you a secret that men don't share it. Men's libido goes down as well. Their mind thinking that they want to, but at some point in their 40s, their sexual drive goes down as well. And sometimes I talk to my husband, I said, do you remember you used to say that you wanted to have sex 3-4 times a week? How many times a week do you want to have it now? It's like once or twice a week is plenty. Because once a man turned into his zone of a soldier, battlefield, he's like a train or a plane moves. He's like going and providing. He has goals, he's succeeding. He comes home, he's exhausted. He comes home, I feed him, we still have to go to playground or trampoline park with our son, we have to do the work. And we're with him, we're active. By the time 9 p.m. kicks in, he's exhausted. I sometimes ask him, do you want to make love? He's like, yeah, but not really. He gets tired too. Do you get it? So it's our fear. In their mind, they think they're still active like in their 20s, but physiologically, no. They don't have that energy. We're going down, they're going down. Maybe not as much as we, but they're also going down. Yeah. Any other questions?
What if it's the opposite? Like, what if you have a higher, like, sex drive than he does? How do you kind of navigate that without being, like, you know, in a way that they might find, like, be criticized by it?
I would say that 99% of men will be very attractive to that. Very few men would be frightened by that, let's be honest. But if that's the case, that you have a higher sexual drive than your man, a woman is very easy to please. Very easy to please. And sometimes, please know, the same thing comes with men. You don't need actual intercourse. For a woman, he could be kissing and touching you, and let's be honest, wouldn't that satisfy you?
No, that would be fine.
Yeah, unless if that is the case, let's say you do need 5 days a week, let's say, an intercourse, sexual intercourse, then you talk to a man. No, at some point when you get closer to engagement, right? You do communicate that. And you find out, does he have the high sexual drive? Because again, a low sex drive, let's say you want sex 30 days a month and he wants once a month, it's a deal breaker. If you want, let's say, 4 times a month and he wants 10 times a month, this is very close. But extreme once a month and 30 times a month, it's a deal breaker. Somebody gonna be dissatisfied. And it's okay to communicate that. But I will tell you, the problem is also with the sex in our modern society. In the reality, people have sex less than 4% in the relationship. But please think about it. The porn industry, the movie, the music, it's all about sex. It's oversold to us. 96% of the time is you're eating, sleeping, working, cooking, providing, taking care of kids, communicating. And only 4% you actually, for 10 or 15 minutes, have sex. But look how much attention we're putting that in our modern society. Now, please understand, if we're overeating whenever we want to and pigging out, drinking alcohol, eating sugar, we're gonna gain weight. It's a problem. Same thing with sex. If we're overdoing it, it's a problem as well. Because sex is not designed, again, for enjoyment. And we're really far away from what sex really is. And so if you have a really wonderful man with all of the qualities that you want, and let's say he has a low sex drive, I would say there's a way for you to please yourself. Or ask him to get involved in not actual sexual intercourse. And it will still work. Let's be honest, Ayana. Or if it's such a big deal, you just keep looking for a man for a really high sexual drive. And only you, deep in your heart, knows if it's a deal breaker for you or not. I wouldn't know. Because if a man obviously doesn't desire you and doesn't have sex with you at all, that would be painful. Because to a man, if you don't have sex with a man, and if you reject him, he feels it personally, that you don't love him. And with women who have high sexual drive, and men doesn't want to make love to, she feels the same way. And that has to be communicated. I had a client years ago who shared with me that he stopped desiring his wife. And when I asked him, why did you stop desiring your wife? He said, because she constantly argues with me. She's battling with me. She disrespects me. And with years, I stopped desiring her. Now, even if we make love once or twice a year, this is the most I can do, because she just made me feel so small as a man next to her. So consider that sometimes men stop desiring women because they're battling them. And that's how a man loses sexual interest. I feel some sadness where you are. Do you want to talk about it, Ayana? No? Yeah. But we feel that it's something there that was not working for you in the previous relationship. And this has to go, either you have to go through the healing process to what happened, and only you know, or keep looking for a man who will match you. And I want to thank you for being vulnerable with us. It is safe to share who you are. And there's nothing wrong with it. Please understand, it's just everybody has different sexual drive. What happens also in a relationship? When the people go through a difficult period, whether they have financial problem as a couple, whether they have problem with relatives, or they have problems at work, and they hit this depression or arguments, or something is not working in their relationship, but mainly it's outside of the relationship with money, work, boss. Usually couple looks and think, I guess I'm with the wrong person and I need to break up. Or if you have drama or arguments, people usually look and think, I'm with the wrong person, I need to break up. Please know that if you will break up with and divorce with your fiance or husband, with each person, the next person that you're gonna find, spiritual knowledge explains each partner, the next partner, gonna be worse, not better. There's very, very rare 1% when you will get a better man because karmically your partner was, let's say, toxic and abusive. Then you get a better man. However, when you get a better man, there will be more challenges. It's like you're going deeper to the forest, there's more wood, there's more trees. And so all it means, you are hitting right now karmic time that you need to pay attention, not to money, not buying the house or not the relatives, but what's happening in your relationship. But people is usually doing this. Difficult, crisis, discuss stage, I break up, I divorce, next. Wrong thinking. Even if you're not married and living with a person for 1 year, in Creator's eyes, he is already your husband and you are his wife. And so when you are betraying a person or saying next, please know there will be consequences. Your next partner will be worse. Any questions about it? Yes?
But it's only about marriage and engagement, not about like dating.
Now,
Or about
if you are living with a man in the
if
same,
not even.
then
Yeah.
no. But if you're living together, you're having sex, it's the same thing as if he is your wife or husband or you're his wife. If you're living under the same, like civil marriage, there's no real wedding, but you're living together. It applies. And in spiritual law, when you're betraying somebody, it's worse sin than you actually killed someone. Because when you are betraying a person, you're not hurting them. You are hurting them, but you're mainly hurting yourself. And karmically for a woman, she will have to go through 7 years grieving through that experience because she betrayed someone. So we have to be very careful about it. That's why dating process for us is very, very important. Because when a man, let's say you divorced to a man it's very easy to find a woman. Very easy. For us, it's very hard. For us to get used to new man, his smell, his habits, his time, the way he talks, the way he eats, the way he does things in life is very hard. It takes us years. For a man, 3 months. That's why choosing a man is a very big deal. Date a long time. Date as many men, not sleeping, just dating them. Because once you're committing and then like, oh no, next, you're putting yourself through 7 years of grieving. You're hitting that bad karma. You did not appreciate this man? Because if a man is given to you even for a year, it's given to you by Creator. In Creator's eyes, he's your husband, even though he's scared to commit to you. And Creator takes it very seriously. You broke up with him. You're not grateful to what I chose to you. Stay single for 7 years or get a bad man. These are spiritual laws that we need to be aware of. Now, would you like to know how a couple gets to flourish financially? Is it something interesting for you?
Yes.
Anybody? Yeah?
Yes.
Okay, let's cover that. So please know that flourishing couple first has to have health. If you feel tired and have no energy, you will not have financial stability and financial success, because people are gravitating towards people with energy and health. If you want financial success, you have to have health and also harmony and good, close relationship with people. And so you gotta stop running around and concentrate on your physical, your emotional health. And when you have a good health, you also start to gravitate people and start nurturing relationship with people, your friends, people in the community, and spending time with them, going, let's say, to the nature for a hike, walk, or running. And if you have, let's say, people who are spiritual and you're next to them, you're gonna grow spiritually. If you're with people who have healthy relationship, you're gonna start gravitating and having almost their good karma and having a good relationship. If it's success really that important for you, start being around people who are successful. You are taking on either their blessing or a good karma. And people who are married, they're gonna start watching you, and it's a matter of time unless they're gonna see someone single and they would wanna introduce you to their single man. And so nurturing the relationship with people are the key to financial success. Having a health. For example, you're buying something from someone, they have a vibrant, healthy energy, they're in good health. You would want to buy something from them. You would want to be in their presence. And if they're sickly and they're whatever is not working with them, it's on their face and it's on their energy. So your health is equivalent to the currency of how well you're gonna do in life. Now, the biggest one I will share, that I will guarantee you, people will trust you and respect you, including Creator. If you do this, you will get the blessing from all, your community, from Creator, and from people around you. Who wants to guess? What is it?
Maybe serving others, serving communities, or
This is a big one, but that's not, people will be warm to you, for sure. They observing you and they start to like you when you're serving. But most importantly, people gonna trust you and they're gonna follow you. They're gonna do business with you. They're gonna come for advice to you if you respect older. And older, not in age-wise. Age-wise as well. But let's say, I know a yogi monk who's 20 years younger than me. He is older than me. He's man, and plus he's a yogi monk for 10 years. He is an older. When we respect older, Creator blessing us. Do you know that if you right now and a person who works for a company, if you respect your boss as an older, even if you're not smart enough, if you're not intelligent, experienced enough, he gonna promote you because you are very rare if you respect older. The more you're gossiping and concentrating on the bad qualities of your boss, your husband is an older as well, on your husband, on people like your parents who are older, it's like you're sitting on a branch, but at the same time you are cutting it, and sooner or later you will fall. The more you respect older, the more you will be trusted and respected in the community. And it's a matter of time that people will come to you to do business, to have an advice. So your health, your relationship to people, and respecting older. Now, when you have younger, people might be older than you, but they have less knowledge or education. They consider younger. And they're talking nonsense about something, but you bringing the kindness and compassion. They will start trusting you and following you as well. but moreover, they will actually build a community for you to lead them and educate them. In creators' eyes, this is a big deal. When you're not criticizing younger, and when you respect and trust older. Older is your parents, man, husband, people who have more knowledge than you. And when you're gossiping and disrespecting older, you're accumulating bad karma. And Creator has a way to punish you. And you know how He punishes you, unfortunately. In your financial status, you're basically gonna be broke. You're not gonna be respected in your community. And people not gonna trust you. And younger, even if they're silly and uneducated, making a bunch of mistakes, you with patience, with compassion and kindness, listen and gently guide them. They'll get to where you are with time. And it's not for you to judge. It's not for you to criticize. For example, when a husband, sometimes men are very logical, intelligent, rational, right? And they can go on and talking and talking and talking and talking. And you sometimes get annoyed because we're weak here in our forehead, right? But you're listening and smiling and saying, yes, yes, yes. Do you know how men feel? They feel very valued. It's very difficult for us women. He's saying a joke that is not funny, but you're smiling. They feel very valued. He appreciates that. Because they are older. We need to learn to respect older. But what we as a women do, we look at their shortcomings and we're like, why should I respect him? But please know, who made a president, a king of a country, a CEO of a company, is Creator Himself. They've accumulated good deeds, maybe not in this life, but in previous life. And that's how they got to their position. And if you're judging or criticizing, you're disrespecting. And when you're disrespecting, you're gonna be hit. Financial status and people who are not trusting you in the community. And if they're not trusting you, they're not gonna come to you for an advice or business or whatever that you're doing. And this is kind of invisible threat that nobody can explain. But when you respect your parents and older, it's like the energy of money starts to follow, either to you or to your husband. Or you find actually a husband. Because for Creator is very important. There's Creator, then there's a husband, then there's a wife, then there's kids, and then there's cats and dogs. But if we're judging and criticizing, we're saying, I know better. You know better. Stay broke. Stay single. Stay with an unhappy relationship. Because there's this invisible laws that we're not aware. The same way how we're feeding the husband and he feels grateful. We cannot explain that, but it's just there. The same way you respect older, you have compassion and kindness for the younger ones, you get rewarded. You can dump your problems only to an older one. You can just share to people who are equal to you, but never dump your negative emotions to younger or equal ones, you gotta go to older. Older are your teachers, your gurus, could be your parents if they are older, mature-wise and intelligent-wise, but never younger. If you dump your negative emotions to younger or equal people to you, they will be overwhelmed. To older. You go through distress, men need to have a guru or psychologist or mentor or older men who are mature. They need to have somebody, or they go to creator. That's why men are very overwhelmed in the modern age. They just dump everything on wife or girlfriend because they don't have older and they don't understand this concept. But we are younger, we're below, maybe just a little bit, right? Because we're all about being equal in the modern society, but we cannot handle the negative emotions. A little bit here and there, but otherwise we will be overwhelmed and we will dump it on kids. And we have to understand this concept of older. Any questions about that?
I guess sort of a question, comment. I've noticed me and even other people, the criticizing of the younger. You know, that's something that I'm really trying to like find a balance for, like whoever might come to me for any sort of advice or seeking my take or feedback on something is especially if it's people in my family. I mean, if it's like friends or other acquaintances that are coming to me, I feel like I'm not as critical, but family members, finding ways to be less critical. Is there something maybe inside of me that I probably haven't worked through in order to get there?
This is beautiful. Thank you, Gabby, for this question. You see, to have a compassion for younger, you need to have enough energy of love and compassion in you. They've done something, you didn't like it, maybe you hold grudges against them, or you're just like, how do you do it? Like, why do you do this, right? There's kind of a judgment because somewhere inside you're still judging the same quality in you. You've done the same mistake, or you're still doing this mistake. And that's why there's lack of acceptance. When you get to the point of continuing praying or meditating, because intellectual Actually, a woman cannot just accept or forgive or just love someone. That happens naturally after 6 months or a year and a half. All of a sudden, boom, person shares their problems and you have nothing but compassion and love towards them. They came to you, that means you're older and you have no more criticism, no judgments, no how are you doing it wrong. You're just in your heart like sending them like the energy of peace and love and acceptance that that's where they are. They still have a room to grow. Nothing is wrong. It's just your room to grow and get to the point where there's enough of love for you, baby Alexandra, for David, your parents, and also younger. When you will get to that point in 3 months, in 6 months, or a year, I don't know, but you'll get to that point. But right now, understand that, oh, I still lack compassion, kindness, and love to younger. And maybe you gotta then accept that you're either lacking or maybe possibly you're still at their level. And this is only for you to understand. Am I at their level or I'm just lacking? And at some point, you're gonna get that love and they will trust you even more. They will come to you even more. And this is your way of serving them. They trust you. They come with their problems to you, not anyone else. Now, let's quickly go over, because I know some of you were not in that program. We talked about 3 basic but also fundamental needs of a woman. It's closeness, safety, and appreciation. Now, who wants to share? What are the man's basic needs?
Acknowledgement.
That's not basic needs. That's different.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Basic needs.
Yeah.
I think that the woman will submit or be submissive to a man.
Nope. Keep thinking. All right. So, a man has three roles. There are three roles: is being provider, leader, and protector. These are three roles. Okay? Without this, a man doesn't feel that he's a man in a relationship and marriage. Write it down. But man has also three fundamental basic needs: being needed, being free, number two, and stay the way he is so that no one, especially his woman, will change him. Do you remember this, ladies? Okay, for those of you who forgot, this is a really good reviewer. Appreciation, acknowledgement, being proud and valued is something else. But fundamental needs for a man to being needed. For example, the moment a woman goes to work and makes money, do you know how a man feels? What is my purpose? Why does she need me? You really chop his testicles off. He doesn't feel needed. And for a man, it's a fundamental need to feel needed. Do you know why Donald Trump, Clinton, President Obama, and other presidents, after they retire, they either educate or go on the interviews or want to be a president again or writing books? Because they will go crazy if they don't feel needed. Because when a woman retires, she starts gardening, she takes care of grandkids, she is busy. She has full life. A man, if he was a police officer and he retired and he has nothing to do, they become depressed and suicidal. I tell every day to my husband, honey, I don't know what I would do without you. I don't know how to turn on Zoom, how to turn on internet, especially when it doesn't work and this password I forgot and it doesn't work. I don't even know how to book my flight to Turkey. I don't know how to pay bills. This is crazy. I don't know how to log in into bank account. I don't know. Sounds ridiculous, but when you get more and more into feminine energy, that's what happens. I don't know how to drive to the highway to downtown. We have new spaghetti, and I get lost every time. I'm like, honey, I don't know how to drive to downtown. He feels needed, that he can drive me, he can do the internet, pay bills, do the banking statement. The more you are in a way helpless, the more you need him, the more he feels valued. Oh, I can do so much. It's a great thing. Do you understand, ladies? It's not a bad thing. It's a great thing for a man to feel needed. You get it? But at the same time, every man wants to feel that he's free. Because if he feels that he is stuck in the marriage, he was like, what did I got into? I cannot go with my boys now. I cannot play my video game. I cannot eat my steak now. He feels like, what the heck did I do? Yeah, he understands, and you gotta communicate. If you cheat, I'll be gone. But otherwise, let him go with boys play basketball or tennis. Allow him to have the same lifestyle as much as possible, obviously, as he had before marriage. With kids, he'll naturally change. Once he's gonna turn on into the fighting mood, he will naturally want to provide and protect. But husband plays soccer twice a week. I know how much it makes him happy. Go play soccer. Once a month, he goes with guys and they're watching this ultimate fights and boxing and whatever, or soccer. Go do that. Allow your man to do what he loves and not being choked that he cannot do this and he cannot do that. Let him. That's his sense of freedom. And the acceptance. You know, we women are so naughty. Let me be honest. We're thinking, well, I don't really like that he's 20 pounds overweight, but I'll help him to exercise. I'll change that. I don't like his hairstyle, no problem. I'll correct that. I don't like that he smokes cigars with his buddies once a month. I'll change that. And a lot of those changes that you don't like, you're hoping to change. And every man wants to be accepted the way he is. It's like with you. Imagine that a man tells you, "Oh, Olga, I love you. You have such a beautiful hair, beautiful eyes, beautiful smile, beautiful body. But you know what? I want to pay for your breast. I really like this big size C cups. And you know what? I had an ex-girlfriend who had a Brazilian butt, so I'll pay for your Brazilian butt. And you know you have a beautiful greenish eyes, but I really can buy you contacts and there will be a blue eyes, very bright eyes. How would you feel?"
Yeah, very bad. About breast, I will agree.
Silly woman, you have a beautiful
I
but
totally agree.
but you get the point. And
Yeah.
that's what the same thing we do with our men. We meet them, we're like 70%, but we're like, oh, 30, I will correct. Mm-mm. Every man want to be accepted the way he is. And finally, let's go to review for what Gabriela was saying. Every man also has psychological four needs in a relationship. They want to be acknowledged, they want to be appreciated, they want to be admired, and they want you to be proud of them. And this acknowledgement is slash value and appreciation. So if we're not acknowledging our men, if we're not appreciating and admiring our men, and not feeling proud of them, they feel the sense of, okay, I help her to cook because she's pregnant. She doesn't like it. I don't help her to cook. She doesn't like it either. So I choose not to do it. I take the trash out. She's not happy. I don't take the trash out. She's not happy too. Formula, I'm not going to do it. Men are very logical like that. And so if you do not appreciate them, acknowledge, and admire them, they stop doing. But please understand that this appreciation, admiration, and acknowledgement has to be done not for how handsome he is and how he has a blue eyes, but for the actions he takes that you like. You want him to continue to provide? You gotta acknowledge and appreciate him and admire him. Guess how often?
Every day?
Yes, every day. The same way we women want to be appreciated that we cooked, we cleaned, we organized the home and took care of the kids every day. We want to hear that he loves us and that we're beautiful every day. The same thing with them. Otherwise, it's like we're taking it for granted. Now, how does he know that you're proud of him? Question for you. Because for men, it's very important to know that you're proud of him.
You're telling him as well, sharing, I don't know, with your friends.
Very good. The sense of proud when you're entering your friend's house, if you shared to your friends that my man is a loser, he doesn't work, he stays at home, everybody looks at him as a loser who sits home. But if you tell him, oh, I went on vacation, I'm not working, I'm just taking care of our son, they look at him, what a great man. And when he enters that room, the way people are looking at him and greeting him and smiling at him, he feels proud. That yes, this is where people accept me and admire me as well. And to a man, it's also a big deal. He don't want to be in a place where people look at him, who is this guy? He wants to feel liked. He wants to be admired by your extended community, your friends. Is that clear? Yeah. Now, also, how a man at the core feels that you value him. And this is in the spiritual books written, and man feels this. When you are appreciating him, not just verbally to him, but also to who?
The creator.
When every morning I wake up and I start my morning appreciating creator, husband, our son, myself, my health, community, friends, parents, and etc. I'm communicating that I am valuing my husband, but also I am acknowledging that thank you, Creator, for sending him to me, that I have him in my life. Husband feels that blessing. It's also invisible threat. The more you're appreciating Creator for sending you the husband, because husband comes only from Creator, the more your husband feels valued and appreciated on the deep psychological and spiritual realm that no one can explain. They feel it. The same way when you feel that, what a loser, lost his job and 2 months is not working. You're not saying it to him, but he feels in your soul that you think of him as a loser. And please know that our sons and our husbands have no defense mechanism against our feelings towards them when we feel disgusted by them. They would want to run away as far as possible. That's when they fully disconnect from you. We have this power of either blessing and admiring them or either curse them, and they fall. They fall hard. Because since they are teenagers, and as soon as they get their sexual drive, the way they start to dress, the way they start to walk and learn and get education and get to college and get the best job and then the house and then the car and then the bonuses, all of it for us women. For all of it, it's for us. They're fundamentally driven to get the best possible mate. And to a man, when he takes you to the restaurant or the concert, he is showing you off. The more you're feminine, relaxed, and happy, and he nurtures and takes care of you, this is the best status of a man. Not his car, even not his income, and not his house, and not his business. You are his status. He does it all for you. So you either uplift him so he continued to battle, to provide, lead, and protect you, or you're diminishing him and kill all of his possibility to fight and go to the battle. Men are not interested to provide, lead, and protect from themselves. They don't. They have biological need to lead, and he wants you to follow. If you don't follow him, he'll find a way to be a leader, provider, and protector for his dog, cat, or parents, or sister, or someone. because it's biological nature in him. So choose that it will be you and not his mom, sister, or a dog. Does this make sense? You see how you listen to the spiritual knowledge with your heart. And please know that this knowledge was with you in your previous lives as well. And when it enters, you can take it and start running with it with life. The more you will apply it, the more you'll get results. It's not my knowledge. It's a spiritual knowledge. I've just been practicing it and sharing it with you. And so it will be your choice what you're going to do with it. And I know if you will apply it, you'll get an extraordinary result of connecting to your man, even if he's not there yet. But it's just a matter of time. Being in this conversation, you're shifting your mind. What kind of girlfriend, then fiance, and then a wife you're going to be. And for that, I want to acknowledge you. So, any questions before we will depart? Then I would like for some of you to share what did you get out of this program? What are you taking on?
I feel like I'm taking on more of an understanding that I'm not going to get the same like response that maybe I would give as like a woman. When you were talking about how, you know, oh, they feel it, but they're not going to say anything. I think a lot of times we look for that, like for that, you know, affirmation that, you know, they appreciate something that we're doing or how we go about, you know, running the home and things like that, or the relationship. And it's the fact that that I'm not getting it in that way is probably a bigger testament to, oh, things are healthy, you know, like, yeah, maybe things don't always go the way you want and that kind of deal. But not just, it's funny because I talk to other women about this all the time, you know, even friends, or like you said, you know, people that might come to me, you know, for feedback on something. And I feel like I tell women all the time, like when they're complaining about their man, oh, it sounds like you want to be with a woman, you know, like I'll kind of joke with them. And they're like, no. But I still have some of those expectations for sure.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Gabby. Because if a man gonna show you his emotions, he'll be doing it for you, but in that moment he's faking it. And just understand his nature. When he doesn't show his emotions, he in his heart appreciating what you're doing. They're just different. They're single focused. We can breastfeed our baby, cook, talk on the phone, then send an email. We're multitasking. A man, if he's, let's say, warming a formula or milk, the baby will crawl somewhere and the baby's gone. They're not multitasking. They're single focused. And so a man, as you're telling him something, as you're feeding him, or you're telling him how loyal you are to him, he's shifting to that mode towards love and opening his heart, but he's not going to express his emotions. That's how true men are. Otherwise, you're expecting a girlfriend or a gay guy, and we don't want that. Who else wants to share? What are you taking action-wise from the program today?
And for me, all the spiritual realms really opened my eyes to the ways how to connect with a man's heart, because I agree they are very logical, and most of the time they communicate through their mind, and even if you think about emotional part of a man, they usually do it through their logic and their brain. So this was very helpful, and those three things, how to connect with them, and also to show them the admiration, to feed them. and the importance of this loyalty. Sometimes as a woman, we think if we say simply "I love you" or "I choose you," that it's enough. Maybe it's not enough. Like we need to use other words to really connect with them on the heart's level.
Beautiful, Anya. Thank you. Yeah, just I love you, I choose you. Definitely not enough. He needs to fully get that you choose him, that he is enough, that he is the one, that you are loyal to him. That's what really, wow, she really loves me. I am the one for her. And that's what really touches their heart. Then he's tuning into you and start opening up to you. You are the one. You are his Josephine. He doesn't need to continue looking for other and another woman. This is a very big deal for them. Beautifully shared. Thank you, Anya. Olga, Ayana, what are you taking from the program?
I just understood how many mistakes I did in my previous relationship, and that's why it didn't work. And it's just lack of knowledge. And like, I don't know why they're not teaching us, I don't know, parents, school, I don't know why it's not exist. Like, I mean, everybody need to learn, I don't know, from puberty, or I don't know which ages need to start. Like, it's really so important, because so many unhappy marriages and family who stay in just for kids because they don't want to break family, or because of something reasons, because they don't have knowledge and they doesn't want to work on themselves. But this is just like, we study as economists, as a lawyer, but to build family, it's as well, you need to study for it. It's like, I'm not talking about university, but I'm talking, it's a work. It's an everyday. You cannot like, okay, I read this book and tomorrow I will know, like, I will be in a happy family. No, every day you need to learn something new, and like, I mean, improve yourself, and all were different. And of course, with age, we're getting something, our, like, I mean, we're changing as well. And of course, with getting baby, it's different when they growing, and like every day it's like, that's why it's just lack of knowledge. And like just people, I mean, I'm happy for myself and for us ladies that like we're in this stage, that we're ready to grow and like, I mean, to work on ourselves. But a lot of people just like, they're just not accepting me. He is bad, president bad, everybody bad, like just not working with me. But just, it's so important to get knowledge. And like, I mean, if something not working, you need to understood that, like, I mean, I'm doing something wrong, and like, and get the more knowledge again.
Thank you, Ola, because we as a women, because we're lacking knowledge, we're entering the relationship, and guess what we're doing? Working on ourselves. It's the most difficult thing. So what we're trying to change them. And all they're doing is just resisting, because all we gotta work is get the knowledge and continue working on ourselves. It never works changing others. And I agree that this should be taught in the middle school, in high school. Because I had failed 3 engagements, never got to the wedding because I was lacking this knowledge. 1 engagement and the second and the third were failing because I didn't know. And especially in the Western modern society, look at the movies and I'm like, oh my God, you cannot watch this because women are heroes. They're like chopping everyone, drinking, cursing. How is she woman? She's like man-like. And if you're looking at 99% of the women, there's no feminine women. I don't remember when there was a last movie, maybe in the 70s, when there was a feminine woman. There's movies of women with testicles. And then how will the relationship work? How? A man and a man will battle each other in a relationship. A man needs a woman. And so thank you for acknowledging that. Yes, I also agree that this knowledge needs to be taught as early as possible. Ayana, what are you taking?
I think I'm taking, like, in the beginning when you had us like write down our list of what we were offering. I thought it was kind of funny because my mom says that a lot now. Like, these girls, what are they offering? And trying to just focus on making improvements for myself so that I can offer those things to the next person.
Really beautifully said. Thank you. Taking full responsibility. What can you offer to a man? Because our list in our head is very long, what we want. But for every want, we need to give something. And so thank you for being authentic in looking into what can you offer to a man. Edith, what I'm taking is now also how to mold myself to become the best wife to my husband because I know what a man wants in his core. Beautiful. Thank you, Edith. I know it's late where you are. So, with that said, ladies, I want to acknowledge you for your authenticity, for your vulnerability, for your desire to understand who are those tough and strong creatures, man on the outside, but really vulnerable and humble, and who really loves us and wants to make us happy, and who wants to provide, lead, and protect us. So thank you for being here and inquiring about how can you be fulfilled and happy with a man, how to speak his language. There's still something left, but I will push it towards the next program. But I wanted to ask you, would you prefer a next time, it's probably going to be around December, a spiritual or psychological program, or both?
Both.
Both. Okay.
Both, yes.
Both. Okay.
I may be more in psychological.
Or psychological, got it. So I'm going to give you in the next month or so 3 options on the topics, and you will choose, and we will continue again diving into the world of how can we be happy with men, how can they be happy with us. So we scratching each other's back rather than demanding of what they need to give us. We need to learn